Are we headed for a NASCAR split? We'll talk about it next. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I'm the Professor Larry Mars and this is Hitting the Wall Racing. So if you would remember back when I first started the channel, before I had to take my little hiatus to take care of a sick relative, we were talking about charters and how NASCAR wanted to get a new charter deal on the table, finished and done before the Daytona 500. Well, guess what? That didn't happen. As a matter of fact, according to a report from Jenna Fryer with the Associated Press, we are further away from that than probably we have ever been. So let's review. In 2016, NASCAR and the teams agreed to a charter system. What the charter system does is, first, it guarantees teams with a charter a spot in all the races. So in the past, you would have to qualify your way in or take a provisional, be it a regular provisional or a past champions provisional. Now, you have the charter system cut the teams from 42 down to 36, with a few spots left for teams that wanted to get in on time, and it guaranteed those spots for the 36 charter teams. What it also did was give the teams a portion of the media money from the television rights. Right now, they're getting about 33% of the current television deal that they're under right now. That also expires at the end of this season. The third thing that it did was give these charters, the teams, value. In the past, if you showed up with a team, the team really wasn't worth a whole lot of money. You had sponsorship deals that gave you money so you could get to the racetrack and race. But if you shut down, the equipment really wasn't worth a whole lot because, you know, they were changing technologies every year. So a chassis that you had and were running last year, you shut down the team, you try to sell it, it may not be worth anything because they went to a different chassis, went to a different car. So that's what the three main things that the charter did was it gave you television money, gave you a guaranteed spot in the race, and it made your team worth a little something if you wanted to shut down and sell that charter. So what's going on with the negotiations? Well, again, I'm getting my information from Jenna Fryer with the Associated Press. The first sticking point in this whole negotiation is that the teams want to make the charters permanent. No longer would the charters be up for negotiation. They want to make these charters permanent. That's something that NASCAR does not want to do. According to the report, NASCAR has made a proposal for a 7-year agreement, which, by the way, is the exact number of years for the new television agreement that's coming up with Fox, Amazon, TNT, and NBC. I don't know what to think about that. In 7 years, you could be back in the same situation that you're in now, trying to negotiate another charter deal, risking your teams that's out there racing for you. But NASCAR, this is kind of their MO. They like to control everything about their sport. The second sticking point right now between teams and NASCAR is that the France family wants to own charters. They want to have race teams of their own to go out and compete in the sport. Now, some teams view this kind of as, they shouldn't be doing this because it's their series. And they look at it kind of like a favoritism deal. But one of the negotiation points is that Roger Penske, and it's a fair point, Roger Penske owns IndyCar, at least a huge portion of it. And he has 3 teams competing in IndyCar. So I can kind of see the France family's point on this. If they want to own a race team, then they should be able to do that. But I also kind of see the point of the teams that are currently out there, that they're the governing body. They're the ones who make the rules. And would they be able to circumvent the rules if something happens with one of their teams? I don't know. Third sticking point is the money. Isn't that what it always boils down to? Right now, as I said before, they're getting about 33%. The teams are. They're getting 33% of the current media deal, which runs out at the end of this season as well. There's already a current media deal in place to replace it. Again, I said it was Fox, Amazon, TNT, and then NBC would take over for just a little bit of the regular season and then the playoffs. So, what are the teams wanting? The teams, according to Jennifer with the Associated Press, they want 45% of the media money. Now, to me, 45%, that's almost half of the money that they're going to be getting for this current, for the new TV deal. To me, I'm sorry, that seems a little bit excessive. They're getting 33% right now, maybe 35 to 37% would be enough of an increase. But 45%, man, that's half. Also, some of that money goes to the tracks, and just a little bit of it goes to NASCAR. Of course, NASCAR owns a lot of the tracks that it races on. So, they are getting some of that money back as well. But International Speedway Corporation is kind of a different entity, even though it's owned by NASCAR from NASCAR. So NASCAR governs the races. ISC owns some of the tracks that they race on. So NASCAR's getting a bigger portion than what you think, but to me, 45%, that's nearly half going to the teams. I don't know about that. But, that's one of the sticking points. That's my opinion on it. We'll see where that goes. So, now, what does this all kind of boil down to? If we don't have an agreement by the end of the season, what's going to happen? Well, some people think there's a split coming. Where some of the top teams could try to start their own racing series. Well, I don't know if that would be a great idea. First of all, let's take a look at IRL and CART. So back in the late 90s, early 2000s, IndyCar had a similar situation going on. And they split into 2 different entities. One was the IRL, and they were more of an oval racing series. They had a couple road courses, but mainly they were the oval. They had the Indianapolis 500 course. It was run by the George family. And then you had CART, which was Roger Penske and that bunch. They split. They mainly did road course racing, and it wasn't very good for either side. It just it kind of boiled down to CART kind of relinquishing and coming back to IndyCar, and they made a whole new series out of it. No longer was it called the IRL. It's now the NTT IndyCar series. So now, why will a split not work for NASCAR? Well, here's the thing. All right, so NASCAR owns a lot of the tracks, as I had said before. They own a lot of the tracks that they race at. So what you would end up with is another negotiation if they started another stock car league to try and race at some of these tracks that NASCAR owns. So you're looking at cutting off your nose to spite your face. You wouldn't be able to race at some of those tracks. Maybe eventually you would if you paid a lot of money to do it. Second, there's been a couple of attempts to maybe start another stock car series, the SRX series. They had television deals in place. They had television money coming to them, and they couldn't continue. Now, Tony Stewart was involved with the SRX series. Of course, we all know he went to NHRA and recently shut down Stewart-Haas Racing, along with Gene Haas, and is doing the NHRA thing full time. And I think, the SRX series, that's kind of the reason that it did shut down, is because Tony Stewart kind of lost interest in keeping that series up and running. I'm not for sure, but I would also venture to say that the cost of running the series, even with the television money, was also weighing on him. So I just don't see where a split in NASCAR would benefit the people splitting from NASCAR. NASCAR would continue on, probably without its big teams, Hendrick Motorsports, Joe Gibbs Racing, people like that. Trackhouse would probably stay. Spire would stay. I'm not for sure about Roger Penske. He may split as well, or could go the way of Stewart-Haas. Shut everything down in NASCAR. We're going to go IndyCar racing. So I don't know how everything is going to turn out. We got to the end of the season to get everything figured out. Again, I don't think a split is coming, but you never know. I want to thank Jenna Fryer for all the information. She's with the Associated Press. She did a good job on the article. So if you guys like this video, give it a like. If you like what I'm doing overall, subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything, and I'll see you in the next video.